We've got a 1967 Martin D-21 here. It is currently almost stock. It's got the stock tuners. It's my nut on it, but big deal. It's just a stub on nut. I had to correct the spacing. The nut that was on it was not the stock nut, and it had the wacky spacing, and it's just horrible. I refretted it, shaved the fingerboard back just a little bit to get the relief nice and flat. Did a neck reset on it. That's it. That's none of that really changes anything. The one non-stock thing, it's got popsicle brace cracks right here where the popsicle brace had failed. So when I took the neck off, pretty bad crack running along here and over here. Over here, you can just see where it was starting to slide. I'm going to come up to the camera. Let's see if we can get this on here so you can see what to look for on the guitar. Take a look at, which side is it? I get reversed over here, trying to look at it. It's over here. See this crack right here? There it is, I can see it. See that crack? That is evidence of this crack right along here, and it's causing, the popsicle brace has failed because the popsicle brace is a bad design anyways. The popsicle brace is the brace that goes up under here. The trouble with it is that the wood grain runs opposite of the top grain. So the top grain runs this way, and it's very strong that way. The popsicle brace runs this way, but grain is very weak this way. It folds up, see? So what happens with the popsicle brace is it just slips going across it. It slips like that. The glue shears. The brace itself can fold up a little bit. It's a bad design. It's better to run the grain in the same direction here and angle it. Angle your piece of wood like this and wedge between the neck block and the sound hole brace to make a nice wedge in there, because what happens, I've demonstrated this in other videos, so I'm not going to get into it too much here, but if this is your neck block, which is in the guitar like this, what happens is the stress of the neck pushes it forward like this, and that causes the grain to split right here. That causes the neck to fall into the sound hole going this way. So there's a brace right here, and what you need to do is put a brace in between here so it wedges against the sound hole brace, you see? And now it can't fall forward. You've got a double brace system. It's a standard way of fixing popsicle brace thing. All right, anyway, to do that, really, you got to take the popsicle brace out so that you can get your brace, trapezoid brace in there. I fixed guitars that were literally had the neck falling into the sound hole. And so the trapezoid brace is a strong way to do that. So the reason this guitar is not stock, though, because it doesn't have a popsicle brace, and now the upper bow vibrates nicely, So, but other than that, it is stock. It's got the bridge plate, the bracing. I haven't done anything to the bracing. I haven't done any to the tuners. We're discussing that a little bit. So, all right, anyway, I'm talking up. So I'm going to play this 67 D-21, and I'm going to compare it to my shop 65 D-21. They're only 2 years apart, and there's a lot of differences. The 65 has got small tuners. It's got a T-bar. It's got some hide glue construction, and that's it. T-bar, smaller tuners. It's got a bigger neck on it, but anyway. Let's compare them. So let's play a little bit. Finally, okay. One more thing. I'd like to plug my my hat here. Hooper Guitars. Ken Hooper. He was a good builder. He came to me one time at Kaufman Camp. God, 2009, 11. No, wait. 13. It was 13. It was the year after my son had died, and I was back at camp in order to take a vacation. So it was 13, so 7 years ago. And he had me look at one of the guitars he was building. It was really, really, really good. I think it's probably the best pre-war style guitar I've played. I mean, definitely up in the top. And just a real light, full just great, you know. That's 7 years ago. I'm sure he's gotten better. Hooper Guitars, I'm making a plug for him. So, all right, let's play this guitar. Okay, here's my personal observations on the difference between these two guitars. The 67 over here, and look at the difference in the color of the back on these two. Both Brazilian rosewood, of course, but wow, this one's really light. And you can really see the difference here on the side as you're looking at it. Really super light Brazilian. This is the red stuff. The main difference I know is the necks are different. The 65 has got a bigger neck, and I've measured it and calibrated it and all that. And it's about 15 to 20 thousandths of an inch thicker and wider. This 67 is a little bit on the narrow side. The 67, though, is almost the same as my 67 D-18. It's very, very similar to that. The specs are very close to that one. Playing them, the 67 at first seems like it's a little bit richer, a little bit fuller, and that probably comes from the tuners. I definitely noticed the weight in the tuners. It's not something, I get used to it pretty quick, you know, but when I pick up the 65, it's just got that lighter, less weight on the headstock. And the 67 is not bad, you know, because it's a Brazilian body. So it's got a little weight back there as opposed to a D18, which is a lighter body. D18's really nosedive. But the 28's got some weight in the body, and that balances it a little bit. But I do notice just, that little bit extra weight. I'm not sure if I would rush into changing the tuners just right now. I don't know. It's one of them things. I mean, if there was something else wrong with the guitar, then yeah, I'd change the tuners. But right now, I don't think I would. And I don't think I would rush into scalloping it either, because it's got a pretty good, rich sound right now. So I think I would probably leave it alone and play it for a little while, make sure it was a guitar that I was going to keep for the rest of my life. But that's what I notice about it, is the 67 seems like it's just a tiny, tiny bit richer and fuller, but the 65 seems like it's a little bit punchier, a little bit more defined. Just a very small difference. I mean, I only noticed it when I first pick them up and start playing, and then once I settle into the guitar, I just don't really notice it. So D-21's, I love D-21's. So this is cool.